Pip, a scruffy terrier mix with ears that never quite decided whether to stand up or flop over, had a problem. A big, fluffy, squirrel-shaped problem. His days were a whirlwind of frantic chases, indignant barks, and the crushing disappointment of yet another bushy-tailed disappearing up a tree. The squirrels in Willow Creek Park knew Pip by name, and they reveled in their ability to outsmart him at every turn. One blustery autumn morning, Pip was mid-pursuit when a sudden gust of wind tore a bright red scarf from a woman's neck. It swirled through the air like a crimson leaf, catching Pip's eye. Instinct took over, and instead of his usual squirrely target, Pip launched himself after the airborne fabric. He snagged it mid-air, landing with a triumphant yip. He trotted back, tail wagging furiously, and presented the scarf to a startled old woman sitting on a bench. Her eyes, initially wide with surprise, softened into a warm smile. "Why, thank you, little fellow," she croaked, taking the scarf and patting Pip's head. From that day on, Mrs. Gable, as she introduced herself, always had a treat in her pocket for Pip. Their friendship blossomed. Mrs. Gable, with her quiet wisdom, started observing Pip's daily squirrel struggles. One afternoon, she chuckled, "Pip, my dear, you're going about this all wrong. You're chasing the chase, not the squirrel." Pip tilted his head, utterly bewildered. The next day, Mrs. Gable brought a small, deflated rubber ball to the park. She'd toss it, and Pip, initially confused, would eventually retrieve it. Slowly, meticulously, she began to introduce a new game. Instead of frantic sprints, she encouraged him to wait. To watch. To anticipate. She'd point to a squirrel, then to the ball, teaching him to focus his energy, not scatter it. It wasn't overnight. There were still plenty of frustrated yaps and missed opportunities. But Pip, spurred on by Mrs. Gable's patient encouragement and the endless supply of tasty liver treats, began to change. He started observing the squirrels' patterns, their preferred escape routes, their nervous twitches. His chases became less about blind pursuit and more about strategic maneuvers. One crisp November afternoon, a particularly cocky squirrel, known as Nutty to the other parkgoers, darted across Pip's path. Pip didn't immediately lunge. He paused, his body tensed, his eyes locked on his target. Nutty, confident in his usual dash to the oak tree, was a split second too slow. Pip, with a burst of newfound precision, cut off his escape route, corralling him away from the tree. Nutty, for the first time, found himself truly cornered. He chattered indignantly, but there was a flicker of something else in his tiny eyes, surprise. Pip, instead of pouncing, simply stood there, a triumphant glint in his own eyes, a small, satisfied rumble in his chest. He hadn't caught the squirrel, not in the traditional sense, but he had outsmarted him. From that day on, the dynamic in Willow Creek Park shifted. Pip still chased squirrels, but he did so with a calm confidence. He didn't always win, but he often came close enough to send them scrambling in genuine panic. And sometimes, just sometimes, a particularly bold squirrel would drop a nut for him, a peace offering from one master of the park to another. Pip had learned that true victory wasn't about catching his prey, but about mastering himself. And it was all thanks to a red scarf, a wise old woman, and the endless pursuit of a fluffy-tailed nemesis. Moral of the story. True victory isn't about catching your prey, but about mastering yourself. Patience, observation, and focused effort help you achieve your goals, no matter how challenging they seem. Please do subscribe, like, share, and comment.